Hi, I'm Doreen, and I'm here at the Speed Vegas shop. And today I want to take you behind the scenes how we changed a wiring harness, engine, and gearbox of a McLaren 570 GT4. I know how to drive these cars fast on a racetrack, but I have no clue how to fix them. So I leave that to our mechanics, but I'm going to walk you through the whole process. I'm going to explain you everything when they reinstall the harness and then carefully reinstall the whole engine and the gearbox. I'm going to let you know how long it took them and also how much it costs. So stay tuned and let me know if you like these kind of videos, if you want to see more behind the scenes from the Speed Vegas shops.
So let's go. You can already see that the McLaren 570 GT4 is on the lift. We removed already the old wiring harness, we removed the engine, the gearbox, the dash, everything is inside is already removed. And yeah, this is how we got the new wiring harness. We ordered it from McLaren Racing in the UK. They shipped it in the box. And this is how we got it. And by the way, I'm also going to let you know in a minute what caused all of that issue, why we have to remove everything, what happened. So give me a minute. I'm going to explain that in a bit. So once they got it out of the box, the first thing they do is they set it up on the floor just to see if nothing is broken. And then they bring in the old wiring harness to compare the lengths, to check if all the connectors are really the same. Sometimes they have some updates on the wiring harness and some connectors are missing or there's some additional ones. So you just want to make sure that before you put that in the car, which is so much work, that you understand where everything is going, that you have all the connectors you need before you put it in the car. This looks much faster here in the video than it was in reality. This took approximately 2 to 3 hours itself just to figure everything out and organizing all the connectors and making sure everything is there. That takes quite some time, but the more time you spend on the floor, I would say the easier it is after when you have to fiddle everything in the car. Once we figured everything out and once we checked that we have all the connectors, we could remove the old wiring harness. I'm sure we still have that. Not sure what we need with that, but we still have it. And then we started to tape it. The taping is important, first of all, to protect the connectors when later we're going to push them through these teeny tiny holes, but also because all of these, so many have to go through really, really tight holes, and it makes it much easier if we tape it together. Once we push it through, after we cut the tape again, so we can spread the harness when it's where it should be. So let me come back to the reason why we have to exchange all of that. So the exhaust of the car broke, and then all the hot air, instead of going out on the back of the car, came out basically in the engine bay and melted everything in there. So all the plastic parts, the taillights were melted, the gearbox, all the plastic parts on the gearbox, on the engine, the wiring harness, everything was melted. So we had to kind of exchange all of that. We didn't buy a new engine or gearbox, we could refresh them. So now it's time to bring the harness in the car. So they started on the side, and you can see there's like such a small hole, and all these wires have to go through this little hole to bring all the connectors to the front. And there's a lot in the front. You have the radiators, you have the cooling fans, the whole steering system, all the electric motors, the wiper motors, front brakes, ABS. There's so much going on. You can see also in here we removed the whole dash because there's also so many connectors have to go in there. So we removed the seats, the dash, everything had to come out. That was a huge job. The good thing is they only fit in one place, so you cannot do a lot of mistakes there, but there's just so many of them. There are around 100 connectors in this wiring harness, so that was really a big job. I think the mechanics took about 2 to 3 days to complete all of that. So now we're starting to reinstall engine and the gearbox. So you can see he's slowly lowering the car. He does that really step by step. This took quite a long time because there's not much space for engine and gearbox. So he lowered it a couple of millimeters, then he was checking again that everything fits. It was a bit more harder because he was by himself when he did that, so it's easier when there's multiple people. But yeah, so he always checked. It's a matter of millimeters here. And then after, when the car was down, he started to install everything. Make sure everything is tight. So when you hear the hammering, this is when he's pushing the gearbox bolts in. And the gearbox bolts, it's a super long bolt, and McLaren cut kind of a hole in the frame, so you can slide it all the way through, and then you have to hammer it a little bit. And Marcus is on one side, and Sam is on the other side with the nut. So you can see this is really, sometimes you need like a little pry bar to kind of move things a little bit around to make it easier to get the bolts in. Because when you lift everything up and then you put it back together, it kind of shifts a little bit. The things are not sitting exactly the same. So sometimes you kind of have to push it for just like 1 or 2 millimeters to make it easier to get all the bolts back in.
Yeah.
So he is using the jack to just push the subframe, and then he is manually installing the bolts. And once everything in the engine is secured, he can slowly remove the safety stands that are under the car right now. Here you can see he's removing a little wood piece, which just kept everything aligned. So you can see the engine and gearbox are back in the car. Everything is really getting ready, and you can see this. It looks so quick on the video, but in reality, this took really a lot of time. This whole job took almost 3 days, I would say. Multiple people were working on that. And besides of the labor, it also cost a lot of money. This whole damage cost us about $25,000. So the wiring harness itself was $8,000, almost $8,500. And then some other parts like refreshing the engine, the gearbox. So all in all, it was $25,000. So you can see engine, gearbox is in. Everything looks centered. Everything sits inside. It's secured. And the last step is really just to connect all the plugs in the right places.
So I hope you like this little insight behind the scenes in the shop. If you want to see more of that, please leave me a comment. And as you can see, everything worked out. Our mechanics, they worked really, did such a good job. They put the car back together and it is back on track. So let me just lift up the engine cover so you can see how everything looks when it's ready. So you can see how everything looks when it's been put together. The whole wiring harness, the engine, the gearbox, everything is perfectly placed and put together in here. So this McLaren 570 GT4 pure race car is ready for you to drive it and experience it on the racetrack for $399. And yeah, you know where to find us.